Hello friends, this is Jimmy Singh, broker owner of Supermax Realty, 647-961-2639, or you can reach me at my website supermaxrealty.ca. Friends, in today's video, I would like to discuss 2021 market forecast and the top trends that I have noticed this year in 2020 in Greater Toronto Area region, Golden Horseshoe, London and Kitchener-Waterloo real estate market trends. So this video is going to be two sections. First, what happened in pandemic this year 2020 and the trends in the second part. So friends, as we all know, 2020 was a year of surprise. Nobody expected, what year we will have at the end of February or early March. And we have, seen that global pandemic and recession has caused, lockdowns all across the globe, pausing international travel, which has impacted economy in a big way. And currently in Canada, there's a lot of sectors in economy that are lagging, but housing market in Greater Toronto Area, Golden Horseshoe seems to be a clear winner this year. And earlier this year, during lockdown, lot of economists around the world were predicting about V-shape, W-shape kind of recovery for the economy. So V-shape meaning, steep decline and then, suddenly bounce back or quick recovery. And W-shape is kind of recovery where this decline, then basically it bounce back, then again the second decline, right? And these are actually, friends, typical patterns which we see during any sort of economy recovery. But however, more and more economists around the world have noticed by the end of year that the recovery actually is K-shaped recovery. K meaning straight line, and then when leg goes up, other leg is going down. So those sort of recovery. And I was reading an article in Bloomberg magazine a couple of weeks ago, very interesting article. They said where big tech firms, large corporations, they are recovering at a faster rate than lot of small businesses who are still struggling. And at the end of the day, large corporations and all these big public sector firms which have direct access to the government and central bank funding or stimulus packages made some areas of recovery faster, but others, small businesses or medium enterprises, or even, if we talk about general public, blue collared workers or poor people, it has, brought a big inequality. People with assets prior to pandemic, they saw their net worth increased multiple folds, especially people who own real estate prior to lockdown in March. They have seen their net worth goes up because the house prices suddenly have skyrocketed and increased double digit. And one thing I also noticed this year is almost every business today is a tech business, because survival or success of any business depends how quickly they adapt to changing consumer habits. So I'm the kind of guy, this is the Christmas season. I like to go in the malls with my family, get a kind of Christmas kind of a feel there. But these days, everything is online. You want to order food, you have different, apps, you order from there. You want to order something, you go to Amazon, all those things are now electronically. Especially, artificial intelligence and automation is the future. Whether you go to dollar store, you can see they are hiring less and less people and putting more, self-checkout counters, whether you go to big box stores as well, right? And it's getting very hard for a lot of youth to have any sort of meaningful employment if they're not, upgrading their skill set, right? And in real estate, obviously we have virtual tours, we have docu-signs, we have social media marketing prior, but this year, it took it to the next notch. So all the businesses in real estate or brokerages, they embrace technology big time. And I can easily say 98% to 99% business I did this year was all electronically. So if I have a listing, I was promoting via social media to out of town buyers, local buyers. And because of the COVID handicap and the province not allowing open houses, we did automated marketing, virtual tours, and Zoom meetings with the customers, and at the end signing paperwork via DocuSign. So all these things actually save us a lot of time, and it made our life more productive and efficient. But one of the concerns I see apart from real estate is COVID-19. As per the recent report I was reading last night, poverty and shared prosperity report for 2020, COVID-19 has pushed all across globe 88 to 115 million people into extreme poverty. And obviously, if you are watching news for last couple of months, you already see big line of people for at food banks all across, even developed countries like North America, even in Canada, right? And certain South Asian countries, they are expected to account 63% of new poor people in the globe who make less than $1.90 per day. And that's not a good news, friends, right? So those are all the things which are which have shaken humanity to the core. And moving forward, we have to rethink globalization. That is another trend. Maybe I'll make another video. Last decade or so, it was all about globalization, opening borders. But this year, I have seen more nationalism. People want to spend money locally and support local business. So that is another trend I see moving forward and getting more concrete. And now talking about top emerging trends that I've seen in Greater Toronto area in real estate market in 2020, and I see the same trends going to next year, that is 2021. So first biggest trend, friends, I have seen is suburban migration or work from home trend. So home buyers who were looking for affordability housing are moving out of urban cores or downtown or big cities. And this year, pandemic just accelerated this previous trend. And with remote work becoming more common, millennials started migrating away and forming their households away. And home has certainly become a focal point. And this economy, this year 2020, housing is the biggest winner. And buyers obviously haven't, I'm telling a lot of my clients, buyers haven't abandoned urban centers or downtown or big cities altogether, but the trend is very strong. And if you see real estate, this is pretty much booming everywhere, whether you're in Toronto, you're in a big city, small city, towns, cottage country. Real estate is booming everywhere. The developers are, buying land, everywhere, because in core areas it's getting very hard for them to buy and make money because of the higher cost of construction and land acquisition cost. And I have noticed also this year, lot of investors, whom I work with, they showed strong interest in single family homes all across Southern Ontario. So this year we have sold clients, for investment portfolio, properties in London, Hamilton, Niagara, Windsor. So all these pockets, wherever they can find, a good, long-term investment, they're buying, especially single-family homes. And another thing I am seeing is, in Toronto as well as other big cities like New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles, is increase in large office vacancy rates. And in US, especially lot of big several tech companies, now they are moving their what you call workers or their employees permanently to work remotely, because I have some family members who are working with these top tech companies, and now the company says you can live anywhere in US and work from home. So that is another trend we have to follow and see what happen next year. Second, friends, the biggest trend I have seen is multi-generational home, which are also growing up in popularity, or we can say upsizing. So what happened is, many home buyers now are showing interest and increased desire to bring all the family members together under one roof. So earlier during pandemic lockdown, I am getting calls from my customers, asking me, since kids can work from home and they're looking to upgrade to a bigger house. I was actually surprised. And then government starts certainly decreasing the interest rate. It actually put fuel to the fire, right? And another concern I am seeing is baby boomers who are taking care of their aging parents. They also want their kids to save for their first property, and they want them to move with them. So all family members, when they live in a house, they can all pool their incomes together. So instead of 2 working members, now they have 5 people or 4 incomes in their house. Thereby, they can afford to buy a bigger, larger home. And then at the same time, their desire to live close to the family was very strong motivator as well. So that also drive the real estate market this year, friends. Third thing I have seen is more renters this year have turned into homeowners. Why I have noticed? Because if you follow me on my channel Real Estate Edge with Jimmy Singh, you know that I'm a landlord and property manager, and I do have rental property management company. So I have seen, earlier this year, a lot of tenants are calling me, and then they're saying they're looking to buy their first house because of the low interest rate. Plus, coupled with COVID-19, which was pushing a lot of those city dwellers living in small condominiums looking for more space. So either they end up buying a house outside, maybe in London area, Hamilton, maybe Niagara belt, or maybe Barrie area, or they end up renting away from the premium core areas. Fourth trend, friends, which I saw this year was the buyers were making a quicker decisions and sellers also feeling urgency. So what happened is, typically a buyer, when they start their home search, they sit on the computer, go to realtor.ca or bunch of websites and start, understanding the house prices in the neighborhood. At the same time, they do their due diligence about school ratings, what is the job or employment sources, or, high schools or universities. And then what happened this year, because of the COVID, everything was locked down, and a lot of people initially in their search, they don't want to call any agent, so they want to do all the groundwork. And then obviously at the end, if they find an interesting property, so either their friends can recommend a good real estate broker, or they can connect with one via online, and then they go and find their property. But this year, because of the technology, because of the virtual tour and certain technologies which also give you square feet 3D virtual tours or drone videos, lot many buyers were making quick decisions. And since the supply was really, really less, and lot of sellers and agents were choosing to underprice properties, in some areas even more than 10%, creating multiple offers. So thereby sellers don't have to live with multiple showings during the day for weeks and weeks, right? So it created a lot of tremendous pressure and quick decision making for the buyers. And even in December right now, I'm sitting close to December 22nd. And even last week, I was in 2-3, offers where there was like 10 to 20 offers, which are not very common in smaller towns or cities, especially in London, Kitchener-Waterloo, even in Hamilton areas. And the other fifth trend which I saw this year was millennials turning big time home buyers, right? So in 2020, younger generation was putting, initially smaller down payments, aside, so they can one day buy a house. And as soon as the low interest rate, came to the marketplace and become available, And since they are not traveling, going on vacation, they are not going eating out, spending money, so their saving rates have accelerated because people are not going out to spend money. Plus with COVID, there's a lot of uncertainty. So the saving rate, actually, a lot of banks have done research on it. The savings for Canadians have increased this year. That is the plus. And obviously, affordability still is a big challenge going into 2020. And even this year, with increasing house prices, and in some cities requiring more than 20% down, parents and millennials, they have put together and they bought their first homes. So that is another big trend which I'm seeing heading to 2020, that the younger generation, they want to be independent and they want to buy their house and raise the family. If they can't afford cities, they can move to suburbs. If they can't move to suburbs, they move to small towns. And that is also a very strong thing. Another thing, a Canadian Real Estate Association was saying that next year sales in 2020 in Canada, they are predicting approximately 583,635 sales to happen. And in Ontario, they are predicting 221,220 sales. So they are again showing strength of Canadian housing market moving next year. And this year, the only laggard or the province which was lacking price growth, it was Alberta. If you leave any of them, you either go to Halifax, you go to Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, even small towns, they haven't seen multiple offers like this year. And people are just bidding, left and right. And friends, the sixth trend which I have noticed this year was huge equity gain for the sellers. So home prices have risen, double digit since pandemic in lot of cities. And as a result, many of those sellers, they are now buying their vacation or retirement homes. They are buying bigger properties and taking benefit of low interest rate. And I can certainly see heading to winter months, it's going to be sellers market pretty much. Most of the Greater Toronto area, Golden Horseshoe, London, Kitchener-Waterloo, Windsor, Sarnia, Chatham, Niagara Falls. I can already see it because supply is real tight. And this year also, the sales were strong because the inventory is really low, and builders were finding it really hard to keep up with the demand of the shortfall of the construction and the rising of labor and the rising in price of lumber and all the materials. Because what happened when there was lockdown, lot of these sawmills in California, which was under fire, or in Vancouver, they were closed down, and they're finding their prices suddenly increased 30-40%, thereby increasing the cost of new homes, right? But most of the builders I speak with, they are very bullish because a big chunk of my business at Supermax Realty is working with investors in pre-construction, segment. So we sell lots of new homes, whether single families or condos, for our investors client, because they want to leverage the money and let the house, close in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Thereby, they don't have to deal with tenants, and then they can double their deposit, or they can make a good profit out of it. And guys, the key factor, as I said, moving 2020, those are certain things we have to watch for. The number one is immigration. So government, obviously, if you watch my previous videos, government have certainly said in next 3 years, they want 1.2 million immigrants to come, and a big chunk of them will end up living in around GTA. That is number one. Second trend, next year continuing would be low interest rate. It will, make affordability easier and qualifying for housing bit better for millennials and people who are looking to upsize and who have stable jobs and are not impacted. Third thing is, I am already seeing improvement in economy and recovery because of government programs. So as I said in last couple of videos, government has unlimited strength or unlimited appetite for printing money to make sure all the sectors are safe and money is given where is required. So they have all the different programs all year long, whether it is CERB, giving the families who were impacted so they don't lose their houses, or mortgage deferrals, or helping small businesses, or helping commercial tenants. So they are doing their bit, whatever they can. And the good news is now vaccinations are available in third week of December. Obviously, they're starting with more susceptible people like healthcare workers or elderly. But I see in next 6 to 8 months, all the Canadians should have access to vaccination. And with God's grace and hopefully international borders and travel will open, thereby resulting normalcy in our life. And other trend I'm already seeing is, a lot of people call me during April, May, because they think, during lockdown, tenants won't pay rent and there'll be increase in foreclosure. So if you watch my videos in April, May, and I predicted, it's not going to happen. Like people were thinking a lot of people will lose their jobs or sell their houses. But I keep, reinforcing this point. Our market have risen in last couple of years. So people who lost their job, even if they have to sell their house, they have sufficient equity to satisfy the bank. So either they refinance, pay the bank arrears, or they put house up for sale and make their next move, thereby freeing up the cash from their house. So my I still believe next year, if in Greater Toronto area, Golden Horseshoe, London, Kitchener-Waterloo, Windsor, if any person unfortunately lose their house to a lender because of non-payment of mortgages, I see those inventories will be very less and they will be absorbed quickly because of the greater demand in the marketplace. And lastly, I would like to see, these things will remain strong, and the fundamentals, obviously we have to see how the economy pan out. Certainly there are certain sectors like travel, hospitality, restaurants, small to medium sized businesses, they are struggling, but I have full confidence in government that they will help all of them. And at the end, guys, I thank you for watching my video, supporting me in my endeavor. I started this channel earlier this year in January, and I reached milestone in December of 1,000 subscribers. So thank you so much, for following my channel, and I appreciate your comments and all the love you showed me to my channel. And I appreciate, and I keep pumping more videos to educate public regarding real estate or financial. And in this holiday season, I wish you and your family happy holidays. I wish you health, happiness, and wealth in the coming year. And I will talk to you soon. God bless you all.